Hello everybody, and welcome to another vintage Cube video. Cube ends in almost exactly 24 hours. Currently in 4th place on the trophy leaderboard. I have 26, someone has 28, someone else has 25, so it's pretty packed. Hoping to get that bronze medal, and we have a pretty good start with a time walk. A lot of other good cards in this pack too. Mana Crypt in particular is very first pickable and in the top 10 cards in the format, but I think Time Walk is even better, although it's close. Soul Ring I would take over Time Walk, but the downside of Mana Crypt is a real thing. Jace is also really good, way worse than Time Walk, but very first pickable. And Steam Vents is good as well, but we will take the Time Walk. Alright, what do we want to do here? Time Walk is at its best if you have planeswalkers and or creatures. If you're doing things to play towards the board. That being said, this is a pretty bad pack to follow it up. There's no good land. Seachrome Coast is fine. If we end up blue-white, it's a good land, but I don't want to commit to blue-white this early. Tameo is not second pickable. Skull Clamp is really strong. It doesn't particularly work with Time Walk, but it is a card you can build around. So that's a consideration. And then there's Lightning Bolt. I think it's mostly between the Bolt and the Skull Clamp. We did just pass a Steam Vents, but that's fine. We don't necessarily need that Steam Vents. Like, someone else will be playing Blue-Red, but Blue-Red can support multiple drafters. Which one of these two? I think I'm going to take the Skull Clamp here. It is close, but the upside is extremely high if we build around this card, and it doesn't commit us to a second color yet. We could be like Blue-White Skull Clamp, Blue-Green Skull Clamp. A lot of different directions we can go. Here we have Channel and Hallowed Fountain. Okay, so I think we should take the Hallowed Fountain. Channel is good, but it's kind of hard to work with Time Walk, and honestly, I'm not really a huge fan of this card. The thing that often happens when you build around Channel is your deck is amazing when you draw a Channel, and it's terrible when you don't. You just don't want to get stuck with a bunch of 8-drops in your hand, and it's kind of weak to Disruption. It's just, I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of the gameplay that this card promotes. I would first pick it, potentially, if this was the pack, but given that we already have this start, I like taking Hallowed Fountain here. Skull Clamp is probably at its best in white decks, where you get token makers like Spectral Procession and stuff like Stoneforge Mystic to find it. And then we want to play blue because we have Time Walk, so blue-white creatures seems like a pretty good place to be. Now we can take a Glen Elendra. That plays pretty well in this sort of deck. There's also Sword of Fire and Ice. If we had the Stoneforge already, we could take this. But we'll take the Glen. This is exactly the kind of card we want. Okay. No white cards in this pack. Hard to say if that means white is cut or that's just a weird feature of this pack. What I want to do is take the Batterskull and then get Stoneforge and be this like blue-white tempo deck. But we should consider the possibility of needing to change courses. However, there's not really anything compelling. I'm not going to just like take a Magus here. Woe Strider is pretty underwhelming. This package is bad all around, honestly. The only kind of good card is Frantic Search, but that's not very good in this sort of deck. So, yeah, we'll take the Batterskull, keep this plan alive, and then see. Okay, well, now we get a pack with 4 white cards. So I think white is not cut. That was just a weird couple packs. All right, what do we want to take here? Let's take the Vendilion Click, I think, and then wheel one of the white cards. We'll get, like, at least one to come around, maybe more. Plus, Click works with the Skull Clamp and is a really good disruptive card. Okay, there's a Thalia. There's also a Reality Chip, which is pretty good, but I think we should take the Thalia here. Yeah, we're going to have a potential, like, more non-creature spells than most white Skull Clamp decks, probably, because we're playing blue. Like, we will play Ponder-type cards, potentially, and Ponder is not good with Thalia. But I think it's still just a strong enough card that it is worth taking here. There's a world where we end up pretty heavy blue and we don't play this card, but in a lot of matchups, this will be our best card. And we already have 2 equipment, so I'm not really worried about making a Stoneforge package work. So, yeah, Thalia here. All right, now we get Elspeth. There's also Trinket Mage, actually, which can find... close pick. Elspeth makes 1/1, so it plays really well with Skull Clamp, but Trinket Mage can find the Skull Clamp, and if we get any fast mana, it can find that. Actually, I think Trinket Mage might be better here, especially given that we might be kind of heavy blue, and we're playing Thalia, so we don't want to have too many non-creatures. But Elspeth is really good. Still, I think if we're trying to build somewhat around Skull Clamp, having multiple ways to find it seems like a good place to be. All right, pretty easy. Flicker Wisp now. Wrath of God is an interesting sideboard card, but Flicker Wisp is a good threat. Right now it plays with Glen, Click, Trinket Mage, and Batterskull, so we have a lot of combos with it, and then we're likely to get even more. Plus, it's another creature that works well with the Skull Clamp. All right, our colors are open. 2 white cards this late is a great sign, but I'm still going to take the Seachrome Coast. We have somewhat intensive mana requirements. We already have double blue and double white, and we don't want to play a super high land count in a deck like this. Adeline works well with Skull Clamp, and Council's Judgment is great removal, but still, going to take the Seachrome Coast. And now, close pick. Gilded Drake is interesting. It's very good with Flicker Wisp. You can play Gilded Drake, steal their thing, and then Flicker Wisp the Gilded Drake and steal another thing. Solitude is also good with Flicker Wisp and Overall, but I think I'm going to take the Gilded Drake, actually. It's like a unique effect that white decks don't typically get access to. Now I'll take the Sword. This pack was bad before and it's still bad. We'll speculate on the Mishra's Factory, or Workshop, but I don't expect to play it. Alright, do we want History of Benalia or Archangel? I think I like Archangel a little bit better here. It's a creature for the Thalia. And last pick, Reality Chip, which is a card we want. So this is looking awesome. We could easily be a Yorion deck. I think we're going to have a ridiculous surplus of playables, which is a great place to be. Okay, another good pack. Lion Sash is yet another good equipment. So Stoneforge Mystic is looking phenomenal here. Muldrifter is good, Dismember, but I think we just take the Colonnade. We did get a late Seachrome Coast, which means that there's a chance Colonnade would come around, but I still think it's just so important. We already have 12 spells we really want to play, so we're going to have, within 2 packs, we're going to have too many spells, and unless we're playing Yorion, which we may or may not do. So I think it's a pretty easy Colonnade here. Not only is this great fixing, it's also a win condition. It can carry equipment. Just a really strong card. Okay, a few interesting options here. Memory Deluge is great card draw, but that's not really the kind of card draw this deck wants. I think we want Suspicious Stowaway. It carries equipment really well, especially Sword of Fire and Ice, and it helps us to mitigate mana flood. It plays well with flash threats like Archangel Avacyn, because you can pass, transform your werewolf, and then still use your mana on their turn. And then both of these white cards are great on their own, and particularly good with Skullclamp, but we don't need to take those now. We can wheel at least one of them and take the Stowaway in our first pick. Okay, now it's a pretty easy Vrynwing there. I would love to make Tinker work, but that seems a little bit too greedy. And yeah, Vrynwing Mare is an excellent pickup. Because we got the Thalia early, we've been drafting around it somewhat, which means we're also drafting around Vrynwing Mare. So I'll take this. And now, this deck is looking great. The big problem is that we don't have enough 1-drops. So hopefully we can adjust that going forward. Monster Mentor is not great here. It's good with the Skull Clamp, but not great in general. So I think we're just going to take the Path to Exile. Pretty premium removal. The downside is a real downside, especially if we're trying to play these taxing effects, but still, good card. Okay, now, Spectral Procession is good, but I think we're going to take the Brazen Borrower first, and then hope to wheel the Spectral Procession. And then again, with both Thalia and Vrynwing Mare in the deck, this is going to become worse, so yeah, let's take the Borrower. This deck is looking really, really sweet. Again, the lack of 1-drops is a bit concerning. We don't want to end up in a situation where we have, medium interaction and no counter magic, but also not a quick clock. And we're kind of in that category now, but we have a lot of threats that can apply some pressure, and some sort of value threats that do accumulate over the course of the game. So I think this is a decent place to be. Now we get a Spell Pierce. That's excellent. Elite Spellbinder would be playable as well, but definitely taking the Spell Pierce here. I want to have a low curve. We have plenty of 2s and 3s already, so we'll take this. Now we get Extraction Specialist. There's also Savannah for the side, or in case we get, Oko, but I think I like taking the Extraction Specialist here. Solid creature, also plays really well with Yorion. Parallax Wave is good, but I don't really... Like, we have a High Curve and Thalia and Vrinwing there. I'm not really looking for non-creature 4-drops. So we'll take this. Now, this is a blue-white land. Sort of funny that this combo is here. Do we want to take another blue-white land or Intrepid Adversary? This card is okay. Yeah, I think our fixing is good enough that we don't really need the Rafine's Tower. The thing is, okay, so if we're playing Yorion, we want more playable. So getting the Intrepid Adversary is good. It probably won't make the main deck. So that's an argument for taking the Rafine's Tower, but I think the fixing is good enough, and I don't really want another tap land. So I think I will take the Intrepid Adversary, speculating on the Yorion. And then if we don't end up playing Yorion, we might not play the Intrepid Adversary, but we might not play Rafine's Tower either. Okay, Lion Sash is a great pickup. We will definitely take that. We get the Cathar Commando on the wheel. This is a situation where Sunbaked Canyon is a card we would definitely play, just to add consistency, but I think there is a very real chance we're playing Yorion here, and so having lots of playables is good. Plus, Cathar Commando is just a really good threat. Hits hard and interacts well. This deck is looking super sweet. The two cards we really want are Stoneforge Mystic and Yorion, and then also ideally a bit of fast mana to pair with a Trinket Mage. Because if we don't get Yorion or Stoneforge or fast mana, again, we're just going to have this problem of being like this sort of value deck that has a lot of good 2 and 3 drops, but nothing super broken. Alright, Swift Reconfiguration, not bad. It's another cheap removal spell. Ooh, are we a Birthing Pod deck? Yeah, we're a Birthing Pod deck. That's sweet. This card seems really good here. We don't have that many 1-mana creatures, but the like 2 and 3, like being able to turn all these 2s into 3s, like Extraction Specialist to bring back the 2, Flicker, like we have a lot of good ways to use this card. Lotus Petal is another thing to find with Trinket Mage, but that's pretty underpowered. Alright, Tide Hollow Sculler, not going to play that probably. Alright, so really solid deck so far. Our colors are open. The question is, are we going to be able to get those couple key cards in the last pack that make this deck truly broken? Alright, we're never playing Blackpeak Cliff, so we will speculate on the Thespian stage. Hopefully we get something solid in the last pick, but don't really need it. Desperate Ritual. Okay. So we have a good start, but a very clear wish list here. Hopefully we can get some of these things. Palace Jailer is another card that would be amazing, especially with the Birthing Pod. So the perfect start would be Mox Sapphire into Stoneforge Mystic into Palace Jailer into Yorion. That's our first 4 picks. Let's see it. Huh. Well, not exactly the card that I was talking about, but we have some interesting options. It's mostly between Umezawa's Jite and Sower of Temptation. Jite is really, really strong with creatures, but Sower is a Birthing Pod target that is good interaction. I think we should still take the Jite, though, because this card is just that strong. It completely dominates any creature matchup. Just charging. It's alright. Hold on. Yeah, we'll take the Jite here first pick. And now we get a pretty bad pack here. I guess we'll take Hero of Bladehold. If we're playing... This would be a solid card if we're playing Yorion, but we're not going to play it in a 40 card deck. And there's the Palace Jailer. That's sweet. Also, Shelldock Isle, and some fixing, but I think we really want to play Palace Jailer. Cellfire Grandmaster is also an infinite combo with Time Walk, but let's take this card. And now we get Chrome Mox. That's pretty good. I do like Thraben Inspector. And Spellseeker can find Time Walk, but I think we still need some acceleration here. This is a kind of slow deck, and Chrome Mox is exactly what we're looking for. Alright, interesting pack here. Mystic Confluence is great, but not really the kind of card that this deck is looking to be playing. I think I like taking Lurrus here. Yeah, we'll take the Lurrus. This is an interesting card, especially if we're playing Birthing Pod and or Yorion. But it's looking at this point like we're not going to get the Yorion, so we're going to need to make a ton of cuts here. Which is fine. I mean, it's a good place to be in to have too many playables, but I do wish we could play Yorion, because I actually think this would be the kind of deck that would be greatly enhanced by that card. We can make a really streamlined 40-card deck, though. Including, like, we're going to probably cut the Reality Chip, cut Sword of Fire and Ice, potentially. We don't have the Stoneforge, so, and, like, we're definitely not playing Batterskull without Stoneforge. We can cut Archangel Avacyn, Hero of Bladehold, potentially Lurrus, potentially Birthing Pod, unfortunately. But we'll see. Hopefully we just get the Yorion and we can run it like that. Alright, here we can take Selfless Spirit. Shark Typhoon is an option, but I think I like the Selfless Spirit. Shark Typhoon is better in a more like controlling draw-go deck. And here, just having a cheap threat that also plays really well with Lurrus seems like a good place to be. Our lack of 1-drops is a little concerning, but otherwise this deck is looking really good. Alright, let's now assume we're not going to get the Yorion, make all the cuts. So we could play it like this. Actually, I think we'd play one more spell than this. So maybe we do play the Reality Chip, actually. Yeah, we could run it like this. This seems solid. Ooh, wow, this is a really good pack. Mana Tithe and Mother of Runes, but also Opposition. And this actually might be an Opposition. Well, I think Opposition would be good in this deck, but given the curve and our desire to have a high density of cheap plays, I think we should take the Mother of Runes. Yeah, close pick. Opposition can win the game, but we also don't have the best deck for it. We don't have Token Makers. We don't have... The Spectral Procession didn't come around. We didn't take the Elspeth. So I think Mother of Runes is probably a bit better for us here. And Mana Tithe would be really good too, but Mother of Runes is even better, I think. So we could play it like this and cut... Maybe Gilded Drake starts on the board. Yeah, this seems like a good way to run it. Okay, few interesting options. Hangerback Walker works really well with a GT. But I think I'm just going to take the Unlicensed Hearse as an excellent sideboard card. We don't have Containment Priest or particularly good removal, so any graveyard deck could be a tough matchup. This will help out a lot with that. Alright, this deck looks great. Like blue-white tempo. It's not as all-out fast as most white decks that I like to make, but we have more staying power with some card draw. We have some better interaction. Like we can interact with combo decks with Glen, Click, Spell Pierce. We don't have the Stoneforge Mystic to find Skull Clamp, but we do have Trinket Mage, so we have 2 ways to find the Skull Clamp. I guess we do have Lion Sash to attack their graveyard as well. Yeah, this deck looks really good. Okay, not too much for us here. I don't think we're playing Elish Norn. We're not playing Azori Signet for sure. I'll take Repeal and not main deck it, but we can bring it in matchups like against Splinter Twin, where we want more instant speed ways to interact with the board. Alright, interesting pick here. I actually think we're playing Lodestone Golem here. It's kind of funny that there's 2 Karns, but this plays well with attacks effects. We already have 2 ways to make non-creature spells to cost more. May or may not be in the main deck, but a good card to have access to. And now we get Soulfire Grandmaster, which goes infinite with Time Walk, so that's kind of sweet. We don't have tutors, so we can't set this up super consistently. This would be better if we had Spellseeker and Imperial Recruiter, but or Recruiter of the Guard. But still, solid pickup, especially for a card that's just playable on its own right. I think we're not going to main deck the Lodestone because it is a little expensive, but good card to have access to if we play against anything stormy. What is the last cut? I think Swift Reconfiguration is worth it. We don't have that much removal. I like GT. I like all the equipment we have. These 2 4s seem good. These 3s all seem pretty good. Intrepid Adversary, this card is pretty good too. It scales well in the late game. Definitely want Suspicious Stowaway. Ooh, close pick here. I think we take the Spellseeker, given that we just found Soulfire Grandmaster. This gives us a legitimate combo dynamic, which can win against a lot of decks that we might struggle with otherwise. Like Mono Green is tough to beat with this sort of deck in general, but they can't really interact with that combo. Okay, we need to buckle down and make some cuts here. I think we do want the Skull Clamp, especially if we're playing combo somewhat. Then having card draw is good. I guess I'll move Swift Reconfiguration to the board. And then we could play 15 lands if we're playing Chrome Mox and a pretty low curve. We could also cut one of these two. They're kind of similar. It's possible Extraction Specialist is just a worse version. But I do like having ways to recur the Soulfire Grandmaster. Definitely want Click. Let's see. Flicker Wisp works well with Palace Jailer, Glen, Extraction Specialist, Spellseeker, Click. That's a lot of things, but it could still be a cut. Although it also plays with Skull Clamp. Really close pick here for the last cut. I think I'm just going to play this with 16 mana sources. Yeah, that seems fine. Our curve is not insanely low because of the lack of 1-drops, but we only have 2 cards that cost more than 3. And we don't really have mana sinks either. We don't have Student of Warfare or Figure of Destiny or like a bunch of equipment, Batterskull, stuff like that. Yeah, I think we'll just play 15 lands like this, and then we can bring in an extra land if we're playing against something with land destruction or we're on the play. But I think this seems like a good way to go. Is Birthing Pod a real consideration too? I don't think it's good for the main deck. It's like a 3-mana card that doesn't impact the board is slow. But it's a really good card to have access to if we're playing against a green deck that's not really attacking our life total and we want to assemble the combo. It'll be nice. But we don't have that many 1-drop creatures, so we can't pod into Soulfire Grandmaster very consistently. Okay, so if we did this, this gives us 9 of each color. I think that seems fine. We need 3 blue for the combo, so that's worth noting. Yeah, we'll submit like this. Pretty sweet blue-white tempo deck. Whoa. Okay. League matches now start upon pairing. There's no longer a confirmation to join. That's a good change. I like that. All right, yeah, it's a sweet deck. A couple cards away from it being an incredible deck, but still very strong. I'll see you in round 1. All right, we have been paired with our opponent for the league. We are on the draw, unfortunately. This hand is close. We have Palace Jailer, which is maybe our best card. We're playing 15 mana sources out of 33 cards, so a little bit under 75% to hit in our first 2 draws. I think it's still probably too risky. It's close, though. But yeah, I think it's too risky. We're going to go to 6 here. All right, this hand seems fine. We'll keep and put back an island. We're going to need to draw some spells, but that's fine. Oh, come on. Turn 1 Soul Ring. All right, well, could be a pretty rough game 1. Especially given that we drew land. So I think I'm actually... If they, like, just go off here, I might go for the early concession and bluff like we're playing hard control. Like just play second island. They might cut some of their removal. Okay, well that's the kind of card that can let us get back into it. Let's play Colonnade, hold up Spell Pierce still. Thalia is not very effective against the Soul Ring. Hopefully this is a Mind Twist. Nice. So Spell Pierce, proving its worth very quickly. We get to pierce this, then play Thalia, and or draw Chrome Mox and just play Palace Jailer immediately. Okay, no Chrome Mox, but a good draw, so we'll go Clamp into Thalia. And with each turn, the Soul Ring mana advantage becomes less. Like when they have 4 mana and we have 1 on turn 2, that's insane, but now it's not nearly as bad. Okay, interesting. Let's hit for 2. And then I'll just jam the Palace Jailer. Not exiling anything, but if they're just flooded, Palace Jailer will finish off the game pretty quickly. They just concede. All right, well, they had Soul Ring into Mind Twist for 4 on turn 2, or on turn 3, but then they just did nothing and Palace Jailer won. So, pretty good start. Playing against black-green. My guess is that they have had blue cards in hand and no blue mana. So, but who knows? Do we want to make any changes? I think I'm going to bring in Unlicensed Hearse if they're playing black. Just always scary. That even if they're not playing Reanimator, there's a lot of sort of value cards that use the graveyard. Swift reconfiguration is an option, but I'm not going to bring it in yet until we see more stuff of that nature. What do we not want? No, I'm actually going to cut Jite here. It's a great card, but I want to keep my creature count as high as possible with our Thalia, Vrinwing Mare, and like equipment. Yeah, I think this seems like a good way to run it. And then if we see that they're playing a bunch of small creatures, we'll bring the Jite back in. But we don't even have Stoneforge, so it's just like a card that we might draw sometimes, and drawing it when they have removal and we don't have many creatures is bad. Okay, Mother of Runes was a great draw. It might get killed, but that's removal that won't go towards our other threats. Okay, Hymn to Torok taking out our 2/2 drops. Well, that's kind of annoying. Now we don't have a play for next turn. It's not exciting, but I think I am just going to fire this off here. If we had the Soulfire Grandmaster in our hand still, I would save it. And we do have ways to recur this, but I still think just getting, like, now we're, like, way ahead on pressure, which is a good place to be. I'm not going to attack this turn. So we got to take the initiative there. We are solidly ahead on board. Yep, they're playing blue. No surprise there. Vampire Hexmage. Okay. That's not that good against us. They might have a combo with it. Alright, sure. We can't activate the Glen this turn, but still nice card to be able to jam. They can't counter it. We can hit them for 3. Now we have a pretty solid Air Force. We're swinging for 5 a turn. We have protection from removal from the Mother of Runes, and we have protection from most of the scariest cards with Glen. Plus, if we flood, we can activate Colonnade, and if we draw spells, we just can play our spells. All right, really easy round 1. We are 1-0. I'll see you in round 2. All right, we have our opponent for round 2. Cool name, Tofu Tofu. We are on the draw once again. Also, I realized that I had left my face down here, so sorry if I was blocking some of my Selfless Spirit, Trinket Mage. Moved myself back up to there. Sounds good. It's a little bit slow with no 1-drop, but we don't have that many 1-drops in the deck, so that's kind of to be expected. Extraction Specialist, okay. We're playing against another Hymn to Torok deck. Oh, Bloodghast. That's not very scary. Okay, Selfless Spirit versus Intrepid Adversary is kind of interesting. I think I'm going to play the Intrepid Adversary here for 2 reasons. First of all, it's better for life swings. Like, it hits harder and it gains its life, so if it becomes a race-type game, that's good. And secondly, like, sometimes you want to save this so we can use the ability, but we can actually use the ability with Extraction Specialist. So our plan is to just get this down. They might kill it off early, but then it can be a late-game threat again with Extraction Specialist. And then if we draw a tapped land or another spell, then we can play Selfless Spirit. We still have a good follow-up for next turn. If they play one of the 3-mana Planeswalkers here, it'll be pretty good. Ashiok or Kaito. Not game-ending by any means, but those would be solid value plays that we can't pressure super easily. I'm totally fine playing Selfless Spirit here, but best case scenario is we find untapped blue source, which I guess is every blue source now, other than this one Colonnade. And then we can play Click and take a look at their hand on turn 3 and then do it again on turn 4 with a... Or sorry, Click, and then we'll play Flicker Wisp to flicker our Click. But that might not work. We'll see what they do. Based on the way they're tapping, it looks like a Collective Brutality. We have no spells in hand, so that would be a 2-for-1. But if they're playing Reanimator and they put something huge into the graveyard, that will be scary. Brutality discarding Kroxa. That's totally fine. They have no red mana. They're not very close to escaping Kroxa. Pretty weak play. We don't find the blue source. That was actually a pretty terrible draw, because we're just not going to be able to have mana up for a while, probably. So we're taking 2. This is fine. Our life total is still pretty high. Skull Clamp was not a good draw. We're just going to go for the draw step Click. So they have Dark Depths there. That's a little scary. Although Flicker Wisp can deal with... Actually, yeah, it's not that scary. Flicker Wisp deals with it. If they have an instant speed thing, that would be bad. Oh, alright. They're just removing an ice counter from Dark Depths. That is totally fine. So there's a lot of combos with this, but they can also do it the old-fashioned way and just sink 30 mana into it. So we'll see if that works for them. Okay, so they are playing Reanimator. Their hand is pretty awkward. Do we take Through the Breach or Toxic Deluge? I think the Deluge. Through the Breach with Ashen Rider isn't even that backbreaking. So I'm going to save the Flicker Wisp now for the Dark Depths, and we're just going to establish as much of a board presence as possible. Hopefully we draw land, and then we can play Extraction Specialist and Skull Clamp. I don't even think I'm going to hold up Spell Pierce. Okay. Actually, maybe that's wrong. Because we're not using the Skull Clamp here, almost definitely. The other option is to play Trinket Mage and set up so that we can use the Extraction Specialist for value next turn, but I think I'm just going to put max pressure onto the board. If we hit them for 5 and then have 8 damage in board, that kills them really quickly. But no, let's... Oh, that's close. Because getting the Intrepid Adversary to buff our creatures would be nice. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do that. We're going to play Trinket Mage, grab Chromox. And not play it this turn. But our plan is to probably end up pitching the Spell Pierce to it. I'll hold Spell Pierce for this turn, and then if we don't use it this turn, we'll plan on just not using it. I'm not going to play this Skull Clamp here. Yeah, not going to play the Skull Clamp. I don't think we're going to be using Skull Clamp at all this game. We're just going to be beating down. So our opponent is dead in 2 swings. The best draw here would be Glenalendra because that would stop all their non-creature spells better than Spell Pierce, and it would also be a blocker in case they have any weird Dark Depths shenanigans. Okay, Recurring Nightmare. Not that good, but I think I actually will still Spell Pierce here. That could become good if they like draw a way to put Ashen Rider into the yard. And Dark Depths is not a real land; it doesn't tap for mana. So, all right, they're holding Through the Breach Ashen Rider. You gotta like this position. We draw the land, so we actually don't even need to use the Chrome Mox. Let's go land, Extraction Specialist. All right, they concede. So we're playing against Grixis combo of various sorts. They have Reanimator stuff, they have Through the Breach stuff, and they have Dark Depths. So a lot going on. Should be a pretty good matchup, though. Let's bring in Gilded Drake to steal their 2020, Repeal, Swift Reconfiguration, and Unlicensed Hearse. A lot of different cards that are solid here. We can also play Thespian Sage and copy their Dark Depths, which is kind of hilarious. What do we not want? That was a lot of things to bring in. I don't actually think we need Skull Clamp. That's not really what this matchup is about. So I'm just going to cut the entire Trinket Mage package. We need to make a lot of cuts, so being able to cut 3 cards is good. I also don't think we need the Reality Chip. That's not really what this game is about. Italy's there. If they play more like a mid-range deck this game with like Thought Seizes and removal, then we can adjust for game 3. But based on that, they really didn't have much outside of their combo. We could cut a land. We're on the draw, and we were playing 15 before. We could cut... I mean, Intrepid Adversary is only okay. Selfless Spirit is bad against Toxic Deluge. Spellseeker, I think, is worth it just to find Path and Time Walk. We cut Chrome Mox, so I do kind of want to keep 16 lands. Let's cut the GT. It's okay against Bloodghast, but again, that's just not really what we're afraid of. We're afraid of the combos. So we're just going to basically treat them like an all-in combo deck and try to be aggressive and disruptive. And then if we misread the situation and they are more of a value deck, then we can adjust accordingly and bring back in our grindy cards. Okay, we'll keep this hand. It's a little bit awkward that we have no white mana, but Suspicious Stowaway can dig for anything that we need. And if they ever play Dark Depths, we can just combo off here. It's kind of hilarious that we can just do that, but it does work. So if you're unfamiliar with the combo, the way that it works is you can pay 2 to make Thespian Stage, copy a target land. So we can choose Dark Depths. Oh, wait. Huh. No, actually it does work. Yeah, it does work. Thespian Sage would copy their Dark Depths. And Dark Depths has an ability that says if Dark Depths has no ice counters on it, then you sacrifice it and create a 20/20 with flying and indestructible. And because this becomes a copy, and the Dark Depths gets the 10 ice counters when it enters the battlefield, but because Thespian Sage is already on the battlefield, it never gets those counters. So it instantly becomes a 20/20 with flying for 3 mana. So that is pretty solid. Keep in mind also, this was an additional land. We did not cut a white source for it. So it's not like we would have had our planes if we weren't playing this stage. I guess we kind of cut Chrome Mox for it. But still, yeah. It's unfortunate that we have to play it out because now they know about it and they're not going to play their Dark Depths. But still, if it shuts down one of the main combos of their deck and it's just a land, that's pretty solid value. And we can even just copy another land if we need to. Like if we find a white source, we can. If we find colonnade, we can use this to become a second colonnade, etc. If we don't draw, if they kill our suspicious stowaway and then we draw a brick, it's pretty bad for us because we have no play. Okay, they discard Terrastodon. If they put that into play, we're going to lose. We're hoping to draw land or unlicensed hearse. So we have 15 lands out of 31 cards, just under 50%. If we draw a non-land, there's not that many spells we can cast, so we don't have that many good draws other than land here. Oh man, that was certainly one of the worst cards we could have drawn. Double white spell. We're a long way away from getting some Lurrus value. Oh no! I hit F6, but we might need to use Spell Pierce. Okay, we don't. This is not looking like the kind of game that we win. We need to be taking the initiative and pressuring them, and we have negative pressure. Okay, Mystical Tutor. They can get Exhume or Reanimate, sure. Alright, we'll play the Colonnade, but this game's not going to go too well. Unless they misplay pretty badly. So they put Terrastodon into play. Nothing we can do about that. One option is for them to just blow up all three of our lands. We could actually kill them with elephants if they do that, though. So they should probably kill Colonnade Island and then one of their own. Because if we draw a white source and just play... Yeah, so they played this perfectly. But still, we're not in terrible shape if we draw a white source this turn and can play Mother of Runes. But if we drip brick again, then I might just concede. That's like the best non-land we could have drawn, I guess. Because we can repeal the elephant. But pretty frustrating. Mana Screw is my least favorite aspect of the game. Okay, so I'm just going to take this, not trade for the elephant, because our plan is to draw a blue source and repeal the elephant. Alright. Pretty rough. We drew 6 cards and only 1 land. There is the island. So we fall in game 2. I think I'm going to cut Thespian Sage on the play. They saw it, so they might actually decide out that combo. I still don't think any of these things look good at all. But I will just bring in another land, another plains. If this was a plains, if the stage was a plains there, we might have won that game. And I think we just run it like this. Yeah, all these artifacts seem pretty medium. We will submit. This should be a good matchup. We have 2 pieces of graveyard hate. We have a couple counterspells. We have ways to deal with our threats, like Brazen Borrower, Swift Reconfiguration. But we need to hit our land drops. Okay, this hand is way better. We can curve out 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't have any hate for their combo, but when Vryn Wingmare does slow them down, and I guess Glenn shuts down the combo if we have time to get there. So, definitely a good hand. All right, Tofu's down to 6. Hopefully they get a 6 that they can keep. All right, turn 1. Plains. Mother of Runes. Pass turn. Alright, Selfless Spirit. And now we have an interesting decision of whether or not to attack. Selfless Spirit can protect the Mother of Runes from a removal spell, but if they have Collective Brutality, we can't shut that down. However, I actually think I will still attack because I really want to pressure their life total, especially with a strong click, which is a kind of awkward draw. We don't have a particularly strong long game right now. I just want to end the game as quickly as possible, and each point of damage can matter, especially if they're playing the card Reanimate. So we're going to be aggressive. I think this is a close decision. People don't attack with Mother of Runes nearly enough. This is a situation where I might be getting a little too aggressive with it because 1 damage isn't huge, but just like you want to be proactive in these matchups. If they're playing a combo deck, you can sit around with your Mother of Runes and wait for them to put something huge into play. Like if we had Unlicensed Hearse, I would definitely just hold the Mother of Runes and know that we're safe against the combo, but here I want to pressure them as much as possible. If they have exactly Collective Brutality, I'll like kind of regret it. Looks like they do have it. Oh, Bloodghast. Okay, so I'm happy we made the attack that we did. Untap. Looking for blue source. Gilded Drake is a solid draw too, though. Yeah, we're just going to bring the beats. Got 5 power on the board. We're going to try and kill them as quickly as possible. Most of our draws here are good. Blue source would obviously be amazing. Even another land would give us Glen. And then most of the spells that we would draw other than that are castable too. Something that's double blue or one of our 2 4 or we actually only have 1 more 4-drop in the deck. Those would be bad. Come on, blue source. Repeal. That's pretty bad. We're just going to main phase repeal this Mox Sapphire, looking to draw land. Okay, that's also pretty bad. We might not need anything, though. They're dead very quickly. Bloodghast is a weird card for them to be playing. I don't think that's correct at all. Alright, blue source. Cathar Commando. Not bad. It's kind of an interesting decision here. We could either go for the kill next turn or blow up their Mox Sapphire. I think it's probably better to just go for the kill, though. Worth noting, Mother of Runes is hit for 4 damage. If we had just been leaving it back the entire time, we wouldn't be able to kill them next turn. If they play Toxic Deluge for 1, that's kind of bad. They go to 5, we can play End of Turn Cathar Commando and put them to 2, but they could win from that position. All right, sweet. They concede. They didn't actually know they were dead on board that turn, but they were. All right, we are 2-0. Pretty good start. I'll see you in the finals. All right, we have our opponent. Oh, dang it. We have our opponent for the finals, and I pressed my command to unpause the recording and accidentally chose to not play first. I need to redo those settings. That's pretty bad, especially because this hand is amazing and way better on the play. Dang, that is too bad. Good hand, though, still. I like our odds, but this is the kind of hand that's just absolutely backbreaking on the play and just, like, pretty good on the draw. Turn 1 Urza's Saga. Well, if they have Urza's Saga plus Mox on turn 1, we're going to lose. They don't play a Mox, though. Okay. They currently cannot make constructs, but I really think they have a Mox. There's just no way they would make this play otherwise. Oh, Mana Crypt, yeah, even worse. Brutal. Well, I actually think we would probably lose to this draw, even if we were on the play. Mother of Runes does nothing here. How do we ever win this game? Is it just impossible? I kind of think it is. They're going to make 2 5/5s immediately. And just have, like, infinite pressure. I guess I'll play Suspicious Stowaway to dig. But this is a disgusting start, of course. We can make some good changes, though. We can bring in Repeal to deal with these constructs. I guess that's really it. Oh, man. Frustrating start, both being on the draw and then doing this. But it is what it is. They won their flip. I guess if they lose all their Mana Crypt flips, that's our other path to victory. But yep, so here they make another construct. We'll see if they have another target. They might just have the 2 to get, but even if they're just 4/4s instead of 5/5s. Okay, they also have Mox Pearl. Wow, their deck is disgustingly good. This is turn 3, and they have probably 5 mana and 10 power. And Mother of Runes can't even save us from their artifacts. These might be one of the weird matchups where we actually cut Mother of Runes. Strip Mine too? Holy moly. Alright, I'll hit them for 2, and then probably concede, but I'll see what we draw. I guess that's one of our best draws. We need to chump block this turn, so I'm gonna play the Reality Chip. Spellseeker on top, okay. It's not completely impossible, but really, really unlikely. And obviously we need them to have nothing for the rest of the game. If they have a single other play, there's nothing we can do. But even if they don't have another play, they can just keep making tokens every turn. We don't have a board sweeper. I'm actually going to chump here, as weird as that may look, or trade here. Keeping their board smaller is worth it, and Mother of Runes is just terrible against mono blue artifacts. Yeah, we're definitely going to sideboard out Mother of Runes. Bribe. Oh no! I should have conceded in response. Well, they already got CR deck list, so the damage is done. I'll just concede now. There's no way we're winning this game. Okay, so that was a disgusting draw. We should have been on the play, obviously, but there's no way we would beat that under any circumstances. Let's cut Mother of Runes. All we saw was islands, so they don't have that much. They probably don't have much removal, and they have artifact creatures, so it's not good against those either. We can bring in Repeal. Swift reconfiguration doesn't really seem great. I don't think we need Gilded Drake. I will play the Jite here. I think I'm going to cut Luris, though. It's a little bit hard to cast, and I guess it's good if they're playing counter magic. I think I'll cut Luris and then play one more land. Sort by color here. We have 9/9 right now. We're slightly heavier white, so I'll add one more plains. And we'll submit like this, and hopefully they don't have turn 1 Urza Saga plus Mana Crypt. That was such a strong turn 1 from them. Okay, we will keep this. We can play turn 1 Suspicious Stowaway, pitching the Glen, and then hopefully hopefully they don't have a turn 1 play at all, and this can transform, and then we'll be in a really good position. Just play Island Pass, please. Oh, Savannah. Come on, they have a Mox again. Alright. Soulfire Grandmaster, that's fine. Ooh, good draw. We're definitely going to use that to kill their Mox Pearl. So we're going to play Plains, and we're going to pass so that this transforms. And then we will play our Cathar Commando here. They can Mana Tithe now, that's the downside, but I think transforming the Seafaring Werewolf is worth it. So it's going to be hard for them to play 2 spells and transform the Seafaring Werewolf. We're not winning the race here because they're gaining 2 life a turn, but we are going to start drawing cards, which is really nice. Okay, I'm just going to play Selfless Spirit this turn. Flicker Wisp does hit a little bit harder, but I think I'll just accept this trade if they give it to us. And I'll save Flicker Wisp to get some value later. Either killing a token that they make or like getting a second thing for us if we find Trinket Mage or something like that. Actually, I guess specifically Trinket Mage doesn't work because we only have 1 more artifact to get, but if we found like Vendilion Click or something, we could get additional value out of Flicker Wisp. Alright, they do offer the trade. Fine by me. They're playing Thespian Stage 2. I wonder if they have the Dark Depths combo. Oko, Thief of Crowns. Okay, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. We can flicker the token, but Oko just goes to so much loyalty so quickly. Ooh. Okay, let's think about this. We can play Spellseeker and find Time Walk. That will transform our Seafaring Werewolf back. I think I'm going to hit them for 2 to start here, actually. I want to draw more cards. And then we might end up flickering the Oko. Colonnade, okay. Let's actually hold off 1 turn. I'm going to play Flicker Wisp. Flicker their food token. Or do we flicker their Oko? Let's see. What do we? So if we flicker the Oko goes to 4, and then they're fairly likely, because we'll have 5 power on board, they'll probably just plus to make another food token. But then we can Spellseeker to get an extra attack, or Time Walk to get an extra attack and kill the Oko. Alternatively, if we flicker the food, they just make another food. Oko goes to 8. That seems a lot worse. So let's flicker the Oko. Take 2 loyalty off of it. And then pass back. And then if they make a 3/3, that's fine. I'm not too worried about that, especially if we're drawing extra cards with Seafaring Werewolf. Our opponent's deck is disgustingly good, though. Urza Saga with 3 targets, 2 pieces of artifact mana. Oko. Probably Soulfire Grandmaster combo. Also probably Dark Depths combo. Very strong deck. What is this? Phyrexian Metamorph? Copying Flicker Wisp? Okay, that's pretty bad. They can flicker a Chromox to kill it, which they do. Hopefully they just pass. Or they'll use Oko, of course, but we really don't want them to transform their Seafaring Werewolf. We don't really need that land anymore. It does mean we can't animate Colonnade this turn, but our plan is probably just to go land, Spellseeker, Time Walk anyways. Okay, they put Oko to 6. Pass. Not gonna exile this, no. Intrepid Adversary, interesting draw. Not doing that this turn though, so let's go. We need to get this Flicker Wisp off the board, so we're gonna go send Flicker Wisp at Oko. This guy at U. Actually, no. We want to hit Oko also with this, and then our plan is... Oh, well, I really want to be able to kill this Oko here, ideally. If we send... If we draw land, we can animate Colonnade and kill the Oko. So, alright, a lot of things to consider. First of all, if we hit them with Seafaring Werewolf, but then we draw a card, we're somewhat likely to hit a land in 2 looks, but if we play Spellseeker and Time Walk in the same turn, we're going to flip back our Seafaring Werewolf, so assuming they block with a Flicker Wisp, we would only be able to hit the Oko for 5. Colonnaded 4 plus 1 from the Wolf. I think I'm still going to draw a card, though. Like, so we don't have a clear path to kill the Oko. If we just, like, even if we draw, I guess, okay, so here's our path to kill the Oko. Hit it with Seafaring Werewolf, attack Oko with both this turn. They block with a Flicker Wisp. The Flicker Wisps trade. We hit the Oko down to 4. Then we untap, draw land. Wait. Oh, no, we can guarantee we kill the Oko. Because we hit them with both, Oko goes to 4, we play Spellseeker, Time Walk, then we have 2 power on board, but then we can play and kick Intrepid Adversary. So that actually does work. So we have to attack the Oko for 2 this turn, but then we can kill the Oko if they don't have Disruption. It's not great because we're going to be flipping back our Werewolf, and then we don't have that much more gas, but I still think this is worth it. Also, we died to to Mana Tithe, but what can you do? I don't like that there's a pause here. But we can't not go for this. Yes. Okay. So that works. And tap and draw. Brynwingmare, decent draw, but we're not doing that this turn. I'm glad we did not bank on drawing land. So we'll cast Intrepid Adversary. And then pay 2 to give all of our creatures +1/+1. And then we can hit Oko for exactly 4. Complicated turn, but I think we navigated it correctly. And now we have a lot of pressure on board, and we have Suspicious Stowaway to turn through our deck. If they have a board sweeper, we're in bad shape. And they have a bunch of artifacts, so... Oh, no! Oh, that's terrible. They do have that. So now Oko goes to 2. We might still be able to kill it because we do have Colonnade, but obviously we wanted to kill the Oko. They should have passed our Suspicious Stowaway long ago, though. I think it's good to use it there, but we've gotten a lot of value off of this card, and if they'd killed this earlier, we would be way behind on resources. We do have Colonnade mana now, though, so we might be able to kill the Oko still. If they have a bunch of good stuff in hand, we're going to lose. But if they just have lands or they have a kind of clunky hand, we can kill the Oko, and then we have fairly quick pressure on their life total. Okay, they turn our Suspicious Stowaway into an Elk. That's probably a good sign for us. Then they play Spellseeker and get... Hopefully they don't have another... if they have Swords to Plowshares, then they can take out our Colonnade, and we're going to be in really bad shape. Okay, just Preordain. Nice. And they don't even have double blue. Drawing land there was pretty terrible. Is there any value to holding the land? Let's take a quick look at my deck list. What? Come on, Magic. All right. Deck. So Flicker Wisp is one way that it would matter because we could flicker our thing, but that appears to be the only way. And there are ways where we want to have a lot of mana, like if we get the Reality Chip going or Skull Clamp, or we want to... I guess we can't go for the Time Walk combo anymore, but yeah, so we'll just play the land. Animate. And go Colonnade at Oko, these 2 at you. They probably, yeah, trade Spell Seekers. And then this hits. We kill the Oko. That's always feels like a huge achievement. We'll pass back, and we have good pressure. I mean, we could just swing for 7 2 turns in a row and kill them that way. Although they have the 2 food, so not actually. Probably we're just going to get the Vryn Wingmare down. They can use Thespian Sage to copy our Celestial Colonnade. And that would give them a nice blocker. They don't do it now, though. They play Geist. Okay, that's great news for us. Draw land, so I think we're going to go for the pressure. Animate, swing with both for 7. Geist is a kind of weird card for them to be playing. Alright, so we have 9 damage on board. If they crack a food, we still can't kill them. If they attack, it'll be a kind of interesting choice about whether or not to trade with the Wingmare. We kill them in 2 swings either way, even if they crack both of their food. The Wingmare could mess them up by making their spells cost more, but I think it's actually still worth it to trade here. If they manage to disrupt us or kill our thing, Geist is a really quick clock. It would kill us in 2 more attacks. I could see an argument for keeping the Wingmare for sure, and if it changed the clock, then I would do that. But given that it doesn't change the clock, I think this seems correct. Okay, they have Bribery. They can take Palace Jailer, but that's not going to work well for them. Glenn is gone. They could take... No, Luris is gone. They could take Extraction Specialist and bring back Soulfire Grandmaster. That's probably what they'll do. And then we're in really bad shape. Yeah, I think we're going to lose from there. The problem is that they have 2 Lifelinkers. Hopefully they misplay horribly and take Palace Jailer, but I would be pretty shocked. If they do take... Okay, they take Click. That's... Seems kind of weak. I guess they just want to draw another card. They probably have Mana Crypt. Yeah. If we draw Path, we just win. Ooh, okay. So we have enough mana to play that and still attack with Colonnade if we want to. But I think we might try and set up for a longer game here. I mean... Yeah, I'm going to equip this here. It's close, but I don't think we're going to be able to kill them here. We could animate Colonnade and attack. They trade, take 4, but then they can start cracking these clues. And yeah, I think I'm going to set up for a slightly longer game here and get the reality chip going. All right. And now do we want to attack with a Suspicious Stowaway? I think I will. I don't want them to have this Vendilion Click going. It'll mean that we need to re-equip the reality chip next turn, but we have enough mana that I think that's fine. And we can turn Lion Sash into a massive attacker. The problem is they're going to make some pretty big Urza Saga tokens, and then get Retrofitter Foundry, which can make even more chump blockers. So that, yeah, they're going to have chump blockers for days. We need to pressure them a bit. Or find a way... I guess Cathar Commando's gone, but we could find Extraction Specialist to kill the Retrofitter Foundry. Let's exile Oko. Now we'll take our draw, see what's on top. Interesting. So we can equip Lion Sash... Or equip the reality chip to Lion Sash. Then attack them with the Lion Sash. And we could make it, we could add 6 power to it, so it would be an 8/8. Yeah, I think that's the play. So let's go equip here. Now we can path. We can almost kill them. I think I'm going to shock this Hallowed Fountain into play because we're going to have use for as much mana as we can do. Oh, wait. No, that was a misplay. Because we have the reality chip, so we could play the land. Yeah, misplayed a shock there. Or to just play the land at all. Go to combat, swing. They need to chump block this. They don't. I guess they don't actually need to. Okay, so let's exile Geist. Soulfire. So this only gets larger when we exile permanent. So I'm just gonna, now they have to crack their food. All right, I'm just gonna grow it larger because we want to have a lot of pressure. And then we'll hit for 8, and we're planning on using this path to exile on the construct. I guess there's no need to upkeep this too. I'm going to wait, and we can potentially find a way to line up the path with their only blocker. But the problem is with the Retrofitter Foundry, they can make a lot of blockers. Oh, they forgot to make a construct. Okay. So they can pay, if they have a land, they can pay 2 to make a construct, then pay 3 to untap, and then make another dude. Yeah, so they can make 2 chump blockers here. Oh, they're not doing that. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Okay, that's pretty bad. They can bounce the Lion Sash. In response, will path their construct. And actually, wait, can we just win now? We can animate Colonnade and equip... Well, we'll see. Island on top. Okay. So they can definitely make a chump blocker. If we animate Colonnade and attack, that doesn't kill them. Can we play Lion Sash and reconfigure it? That would cost 4 to play and equip, and then we would need 5 for the Colonnade. So 4 plus 5. We do have enough. That would make the Colonnade 5 power, so it would kill them even through the thing. And they can't make a blocker with flying. So this line, which was available to them, they knew that we had this line, wins unless they have... Oh, wait, they have no cards. Okay, so this works. So we play the Lion Sash, play land, animate Colonnade, which they can't block, equip this here, then attack them in the air. They can crack the food, but then we can equip, exile their Urza Saga to grow our Colonnade. Really cool game there. Very close. So we got just steamrolled by the turn 1 Urza Saga, game 1, and then went a long grind to game 2. That's often how it goes, I feel like. The games we lose are just where you get vintage cubed, and then the long, intricate games where, to be frank, play skill matters more. Then we can take those ones down. All right, so we saw a little bit more of their deck there. Nothing that really changes too much, though. They have, they have Oko. That's terrifying, but not much we can do about it. The only consideration is bringing in Thespian Stage in case to copy their things, but we haven't seen the Dark Depths combo yet, so they might just be playing Thespian Stage as a value land if they have really good fixing. So I think I'm just going to run it back. Yeah, we'll just resubmit. All right, on the draw, but with a really good hand. Well, if they have their hand from turn 1, they can slip the Mana Crypt in under Spell Pierce. We're going to lose. They just play Triumph, okay? I think it's worth holding up Spell Pierce here rather than just playing Skull Clamp. There's not much of a pressure to get Clamp down. We're not going to be using that for a while anyways. All right, I'll Pierce this. If they have Oko next turn, or actually, no, yeah, Pierce into Thalia stops Oko, temporarily at least. Good draw. Now, hopefully they just pass. And And then next turn we can decide between playing Spellseeker or playing Brazen Borrower. Brazen Borrower lets us pressure Planeswalkers better, but Spellseeker finds us Time Walk. I kind of am leaning towards just playing the Brazen Borrower, though, as a 3-1. Okay, they spend a 2 mana for a Portent. That's pretty weak. Celestial Colonnade. Close, but I think I'm going to go for the Brazen Borrower here. So we'll hit for 2. I just want to get pressure going, especially while we have Thalia taxing their mana. The Thalia tax becomes more and more irrelevant as the game goes on, so we want to maximize the early turns and hit them hard. And then also, Spellseeker gets better the longer the game goes, so we want to have more creatures in play, ideally, when we take our extra turn. Okay, they play Soulfire Grandmaster. That's not that scary. And they play Retrofitter Foundry. Okay. Do we want to bounce the Retrofitter Foundry with Brazen Borrower? No, I think I'm just going to cast it. Get some pressure down. Click. Good draw. So let's go Colonnade. Hit them for 3. We're going to leave back the Thalia because it can block the Soulfire. And then we'll draw step click them. If they counter the click, that's fine. They're using their mana on that. They don't have mana for like Cryptic Command or Mystic Confluence. Alright, so they do have the Oko. They have Spellseeker. But, well, actually, Oko is kind of bad here. We can just kill it. Is there any chance it's correct to just let them have the Oko? Yeah, I'm actually going to take Golos here. I'm a little bit... Well, I'm not even scared of Thespian Stage Dark Depths, though. Is it crazy to just leave them with all of these cards? Like, to be honest, this stuff is kind of less scary than just making Thopters and making 1/1s with flying with the Retrofitter Foundry. Our plan is to win in 3 swings with our 2 flyers. None of these cards meaningfully disrupt that. If they just hardcast Oko, we'll kill it. If they play Spellseeker for Preordain, that's underpowered. If they play Golos for Thespian Stage, we have Path to Exile. Yeah, I'm just going to take nothing here. It's actually really close, but I think constricting their mana is more important than like any of these spells. Interesting decision, though. Probably the first time I've ever not taken Oko in a situation like that. So they play the Golos, grab their Dark Depths. Yep. Not a problem. Palace Jailer. That's a good draw. Do we want to cast that or Spellseeker this turn? We're threatening lethal next turn. If their plan is to go Dark Depths, we can just kill them. Few options here. So if we play the Spellseeker and get Time Walk, do we threaten to kill them next turn? We can go hit them for 6, they go to 9. Then they probably just make a Dark Depths token and we path it. And I think that works. That'll work. So, yeah, I'm going to grab the Time Walk here. We need to find an untapped land, ideally. I don't think this is a Palace Jailer type game, though. Oh, Repeal is also a good answer, but still taking Time Walk. Then we'll hit them for 4, or for 6, and pass. And now if we draw any land other than Seachrome Coast, we just win, because we can path their 20/20 and play Time Walk, and they don't have enough mana to make a flyer with Retrofitter Foundry. They also can't gain life, importantly, because Thalia can block the Soulfire Grandmaster. So let's see, if they use these mana, yeah, they could make a 1/1 with a Retrofitter Foundry, but it won't have flying. They play Spellseeker. Do they have Time Walk of their own? That would be bad if they have Time Walk. Last time they just got Preordained, though. Oh, Path to Exile. Okay. Yeah, that's bad. We'll take 3. Vryn Wingmare. Okay. So if we attack with both... Really tricky spot here. If we attack with both and they just make a 20/20, we can path the 20/20, hit them down to 3. Or they could go for, instead of going for the 20/20, they could go for the path. And then that resolves. We hit them for 3, we play Time Walk, we take another turn, and work from there. Yeah, I think it's worth it to start with the attack. The Skull Clamp is looking terrible. I should have known. This is like... We haven't played any matchups where it's really a Skull Clamp matchup. So we'll see which one they go for. Looks like they're going for the Dark Depths, so... This is fine. So we path that. They go to 3. They do get a land, which is too bad. And now we would be able to win if the Thalia wasn't in play, funnily enough, but we can't play Time Walk, so it still has helped us overall this game, but we'll get the Skull Clamp down and pass. This is going to be a close one. I mean, it already is a close one. It looks, you know, they're at 3, we're at 17, but if they stabilize, they're going to win. Like, they have Oko, they have Retrofitter Foundry, they have Urza Saga. They win the long game. So we need to win in this narrow window where we have all the initiative. They only have 1 non-island. It's sort of weird they got another island there. Yeah, man, I really needed to grab a Plains, because now they can't play Oko plus Path. What a match. This has been very intense, but I think it's going to be hard for them to pull this off. Like, their best bet, they can path 1. Actually, no, I don't think they can win here. They could play Oko and gain 3 life, but then they die. They could path one of our things, but then they take 3 and die. They can't... Wow. All right. Nice. If they've got the Plains, I actually still think we probably could have won, but it would have been close. Oh my gosh, this is the second time where I've gotten a trophy, and at the exact same time, pretty much. I guess you can't really see this maybe, but like 30 minutes ago, Troll Aesthetic for the win, got another trophy. So still 2 behind, but let's pull up the deck list. This was a sweet league. This was our deck list, and it was very, very strong. Blue-white tempo, we got the trophy, so the result was obviously there. We had a really strong proactive game plan with a lot of threats that can pressure them pretty quickly. Like Brazen Borrower plus Vendilion Click is a really solid Air Force. We had a lot of X1 flyers, actually, so Lingering Souls would be bad news, but a lot of good aggression with some evasion. We had a bunch of equipment, so it's too bad we didn't have Stoneforge, but GT and the Reality Chip and Lion Sash, Skull Clamp, and then more on the board. The Reality Chip was very good. And Lion Sash was as well. The fact that you can move this around was very clutch for that one game where we equipped it to Colonnade. I don't think we used Skull Clamp a single time, so that one didn't really pay off. But the deck overall was great. The Thalia was great. I think that if you have the mana for blue in these white decks, it is a real addition. Like, Spell Pierce was very, very powerful. Time Walk, of course, was as well. Just a really sweet league all around. We played pretty well, I think, and ran into some tough matchups. We never played against the grindy matchups, which is what we have like the Skull Clamp stuff for. And that's kind of too bad. I would like to have seen how this could grind against like Esper Control or something. But a pretty sweet league, and we got the trophy. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.